I'm going to show you how to turn eyes from a dull appearance like this into something that pops a little more like this. Alright, so let's get started. Now obviously this photo is pretty dramatic here, but I think the eyes could use a little bit more drama just to match the overall drama of the photo here. So let's zoom in on the eye and we'll start. So the first thing we're going to start with here is the iris itself. It's the blue part of this eye. I'm going to go to adjustment brush. We're going to do a lot of local adjustments here. And we're going to raise the exposure up, and it looks like it, we'll just go with that for now, and we'll change it as we go along if we need to. And also just to keep in mind that none of these values that I'm going to use are universal, so if you're going to do this with your photos, don't use the exact same levels I'm going to use, because every photo is different, obviously. Some photos might, some eyes might be a little brighter than others. This is kind of more in shadow, so we're going to bump it up a little bit more. But the overall gist of what I'm trying to do will apply to everything. Alright, so we have our brush here. Let's paint right here. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Paint right in here in the iris. Alright, and if I hover over this, you can see I got a little bit of the pupil in here, but that's fine. We can erase it afterwards. But it made the iris a little bit brighter. And also, you, instead of hovering over this like that to get that, you can just press the O key or this little check mark box down here. Now, we're going to not just add exposure, but we're also going to raise the clarity just a little bit to give a little bit of contrast to the midtones, just to make the little, cool design that's in the eyes pop out a little bit more. Nothing too dramatic. And you can push these more if you'd like. I like to make things a little bit more natural looking, so that don't look like you have glow-in-the-dark eyes, although that could work for this photo. And we're going to add a little bit into the shadows. Just, if we go too far, we have glowing eyes. Again, it looks cool, but, if this is just like a regular portrait session or something, you probably don't want to do that. So let's just add a little bit in. Maybe there. Alright. And then we're going to add in a little bit of saturation. Now, if we lower the saturation, obviously we're going to have black and white eyes, which, it looks cool, but not really realistic. So we're going to bump it up just a little bit, not much, just add a little bit of color in there. And so we'll go back, and this is where it started. This is where we're at so far. Now, we're obviously not done. There's a whole bunch of other things. We're going to do a new brush here. And I'm going to reset. You can do that by double tapping anything here. Just resets it. I'm going to lower the exposure. Maybe like there. And we're going to we're going to add an outer black rim here to the eye. That's a little very dramatic. But the reason I'm doing this is so let's pump this down a little bit because that's way too dramatic. Alright, the reason we're doing this is you might see this in some contact lenses. They'll have a black rim here around the outside of it. It kind of makes the eye look a little bit bigger and also pops a little bit more because it contrasts with the white here, and then we have the black, and then we have the color of the iris. Even if it's a darker color, it still contrasts with the black outline and then the black pupil. So it'll really add a little bit. So let's go back to before and then after, just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Now there is some spillover, and you could just go down in here and erase just a little bit here, but for demonstration purposes, I'm just showing you the general outline of what to do. So let's add a new brush here, and for this brush we're going to do the whites of the eyes, and I don't have to do this over here because this light box kind of took care of that for me, but all the other white part of the eyes. So we're going to raise the exposure maybe like that, and just paint on in here. Alright, so missed a little bit. it's fine. So we'll go back to where it was before. And afterwards, it's very much more white. I think we could probably add a little bit more into the shadows here, because it is very much in the shadows. You don't want to go too far, because then you have, whoops, I clicked on the wrong one. Haha. Let's undo that. This one. I think we can add a little more in the shadow for this one, but you don't want to go too far, because then you have like super glowing white eyes. So, you know, just a little bit here, like that. Even that might be a little too much. Now let's go back all the way to where we very first started. No adjustments, and then here's all these adjustments. There's a couple more things that you can do. For example, if we can't zoom in any further, because we are 1:1, but let me get out of this. You see these little red veins here in the eye. They're not too noticeable in my eye here specifically, but some people, if like they had a long night or something, they have red eyes, their veins might pop out. It might be a little too distracting. Instead of deleting them and removing them entirely with like a spot removal tool or something like that, which would look unnatural, you could de-emphasize them by going into your adjustment brush and creating a brush that lowers the saturation, maybe like that, like that. You don't want them to be too low, because then, well, you get black veins, and no one naturally has black veins in their eyes, so it doesn't look very good. But if you could just de-emphasize them a little bit so that they're not so noticeable by doing that. Another thing you can do, I don't have any makeup on, obviously, but if you do have makeup on, well, or, you know, the person in the photo has makeup on, you can emphasize that makeup a little bit more by, let's just do it here, reset the saturation, lowering the exposure a bit, and then just kind of dodging, or excuse me, burning, not dodging, burning in here. That obviously looks very fake. Yeah. Just to contrast with the eyes more, just the whites of the eyes and everything like that, with all these different black lines separating things, everything just pops a little bit more. Obviously this looks terrible, so let's lower it down a little bit more, make it less. This is not a substitute for makeup, so if your model is not wearing makeup, this isn't going to all of a sudden be like, oh my god, she's got eyeliner and the, what the hell is it called for your eyelashes? Mascara. Obviously, that's not going to work, but if there is some there, you can bring it out a little bit more, which will add to the overall emphasis of how much the eyes pop. So let's go back here. We'll start at the beginning. Once again, here's where we were, here's where we are. Now let's zoom out here. I can show you that's where we are now. I think it kind of matches the scene a little bit more, and here's where we were before. A little bit more dull. Can definitely tell that there's more eyes there. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I hope it helped you in some way or another, and if you did like it, then I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. That shows me, well, you know, that you liked the video. And also, if you really liked it and want to see more, I have plenty more tutorials and reviews and things on staying creative and stuff like that on my channel, so make sure you hit subscribe for that. I'm on all of the usual social media suspects like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like that. So check me out on there. And yeah, if you'd like to see more, you can check out this video here or anything else on my channel. Alright, so until next time, see you later.